Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your host for today's episode. And today on the show, I have Logan Dunnaway, president of Anneal Tech, as my guest. We're going to be learning about his business, his journey to business ownership, best practices, and challenges that he's faced to give you that inside look to what it's like to build and operate a business. Welcome, Logan. So great to meet you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Of course. Well, before we dive into all things business, I'd love to share a bit about you. So take us back as far as you want. Share a bit about your backstory.
Sure. So personally, we've lived in the North Austin Round Rock area for about 7 years now. We try not to bring it up too much, but we're some of the California refugees that got out while we could before everything went crazy, and we've loved every minute of being out here. Central Texas is really near and dear to our heart. We traveled through here a little bit. We had family farther out east, and we just love the Austin vibe, and we're happy with dealing with the hot weather just because it's a wonderful place to be. So we've loved being here, and it's been great raising a family here.
Ah, that's awesome. Well, you mentioned family. How many kiddos do you have?
I have 6 kids. My oldest is 11. My youngest is a little over a year old. So yeah, we have a packed
Oh,
house, which is a lot of fun.
that's really fun. That's like, yeah, like Brady Bunch. That's like, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Busy.
Yeah.
Um, okay, well, awesome. So, okay, let's dive into Anneal Tech.
Yeah.
Tell me about Anneal Tech. Like, what kind of company is it? Give like a little background.
Sure. So we're an enterprise grade cybersecurity and IT services firm. So really, we cover a lot of different bases. Most folks are familiar with the break fix type services that we and our peers offer. That hey, things are not working right, email stopped flowing, internet isn't working right, my machine's slow. We do all of that, but then we also do a lot of the more strategic technology advisory. We have a background in working in larger enterprises that are global in scope and tens and hundreds of thousands of people. And so we're bringing that type of expertise to the small and medium business world, where we use kind of the same best practices that you would find at a Dell or an IBM or any of these large global shops, but using that same strategy and methodology in a business that normally wouldn't have access to that type of expertise, but can get a lot of value out of that expertise, especially in the cybersecurity arena, which is getting a lot more difficult these days, is there's a lot more threats going on, and it's impacting businesses of every kind and size.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. Like, I hear of something once a week now of like happening. So I'm so glad that you're, helping with mitigating and resolving some of that. So,
It comes down to education. Yeah, it's funny as technologists, we're not known for being the most people forward individuals in the world, but a lot of what we have to do is get past that and try and help people understand the technology that they're using and
mm,
how to better secure it. I think a lot of people, technology in general is a little bit of a black hole, and it's a little bit scary because there's a lot, we're acronym heavy. And so people go, I don't even know where to begin with this stuff. And so they end up kind of getting into a decision paralysis, or they're afraid to even begin looking at how do I protect my technology? How do I make sure that it runs well? And then they get caught in some sort of fraud scam or business email compromise, which is a very, very common cyber attack today. And trying to clean those things up are always more difficult, more time consuming and disruptive to your business than preventing those from the get go. So we try and educate a lot on here's how to keep those things from happening. Here's the basics and the fundamentals that you can do so you don't get caught up in that type of fraud.
definitely. It's like preparing or preventative care in a lot of
100%. Yeah. It's the same thing as going to the doctor or the dentist. Everybody waits until there's an issue with, the tooth is sore or something like that. And then they go and they try and fix it. Where if you just went in for your annual checkups and you had somebody taking care of it, then you're less likely to have an issue.
Very true. Well, this is incredible. I'm excited to dive in further.
Sure.
So let's look at, kind of the ownership structure of your
Mhm.
of the business. So you're the
Yeah.
president. Is there like what's the ownership structure right now?
So I'm really blessed to have a really talented team of ex-enterprise folks that all kind of came on this journey with us. So we have a team of principal leadership that focus on different areas of technology. I won't go so far as to say that we're like doctors, but for computers, we're kind of like doctors. And you go to the orthopedic surgeon for surgery on your foot, you go to the optometrist for your eyes. we run into the same thing in technology. I don't try and wear every hat or be an expert in every area of technology. And so the other principals and partners on our team, they focus in key areas of technology like cybersecurity. I talk about it a lot, but I'm not the smartest cybersecurity guy in the world. Our head of cybersecurity focuses on that. He's one of our principal group. We also have service delivery and application development and infrastructure, these other areas that really need true experts to be able to run them well. And
Mhm.
that really helps us quite a bit. And so the leadership is kind of broken out across those different areas of speciality, and everybody kind of pulls their own weight to make sure we can service anybody and anything that comes across our plate.
Okay, wonderful. So how many people are on your leadership team?
Let's see, the core leadership team, there's 5 of us, and then we've got a number of partners. And in total, we actually have closer to, I think, 8 partners right now that all focus in different areas of the business. We have someone that is our head of communications and someone who focuses on client innovation and engagement. And so focusing on how do we bring new tools and solutions to the plate. So everybody's focused on a little bit something different.
Oh, that's awesome, awesome. And, now looking at, like, employees, now how many current team members do you have outside of the core?
Outside of the core, there's another 7 of us, and that's a mixture of part-time and full-time folks. So, there's a group that's kind of working off the side of their desks, and then others who are full-time, handling the day-to-day. So we've got a really wide group. And as we've been growing, it's been great because there's a lot of excellent talent out there, especially in the North Austin and Central Texas area. We've got a lot of great technology talent. And so we're
Mm.
able to bring those as we're scaling different services that we offer. We're bringing more people in to focus on things like project management and application development. And those folks are looking for opportunities to kind of maybe make an exit out of the enterprise world because they want to be part of a smaller, more agile organization.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And so, okay, so ideal clients then. Let's talk about your ideal
Sure.
client. Like, are you serving large businesses, small businesses, individuals? Like, what's kind of your client base?
We so the short answer is we can service anybody, but we love the SMB space, the sub 300 employee type organizations. We can do a lot larger than that, but we're really passionate about the SMB world. Coming from the global enterprise world, being able to be closer to the clients and more to at that ground level with them, where we can see the impact of the services that we're providing on their business success. That's really hard when you're part of this large container ship and you're not really seeing the tangible outputs of your contributions on what's happening with the business. In the SMB world, you could see that impact in days and weeks in a small 5 or 10 person shop. Really, we love organizations between 25 to 100 people because that's where there's the most need to stop bootstrapping things. We see a
Mm.
lot of business owners where they try and do their best, and we've all been there. We understand where it comes from, but you get beyond their technical acumen, and they really need to have a more mature technology platform in place, whether it's cybersecurity or applications or just the break fix service delivery, keeping the technology lights on. Their business is growing beyond what they can sustain, and no, and there's obviously going to be somebody down the hall, that John or Shelly who's good at technology, knows their way around a phone, and they become the de facto IT person. But their actual job is, selling insurance or fixing, they're a plumber, but they keep getting called in the IT stuff. Usually it's about that 15 to 20 person in size where they go, look, we need real expertise here and we need to bring somebody in. And they have the decision, do we try and hire that internally or do we work with a third party partner? And once upon a time, I was one of those guys, the lone man on the island working in a small shop like that. But where we add the most value is, again, going back to that breadth of expertise. That one guy on their own can only do so much. And they're expected to care and feed for every element of technology within a business. And
Mhm.
ultimately, they need a lot more breadth and support to really cover all the bases that that business has. And so we love to actually work with those one person IT, personnel in a business because we can supplement what they do. You get the best of both worlds. You got the guy down the hall that you can bring your computer to when it breaks, but they're backed by an enterprise grade support team that understands how to do cybersecurity at a much higher level. So there's a lot of different ways we can support businesses in that range. And we do work with larger orgs as well, but their needs tend to be more on the consulting side, which we are very passionate about as well.
Oh, wonderful. Now, looking at your team currently, are you in a good place with the amount of people you have right now, or are you looking to grow in your team size?
We're always looking to grow. I mean, so it's for us, everything is very metric oriented. We're very accountability driven, and so a lot of the tools we use help us to be hyper efficient with the manpower that we have. And then again, this kind of comes from the lessons learned in the enterprise world. We know how to support tens and thousands of devices and end users with really tactical teams and small, lean teams. We apply that same strategy to what we do. And so while an individual technician on our team can support a lot of people, as we're growing really rapidly, we're always pulling more people from that talent pool going here. Here's a structure. Here's where you can be really successful. Here's defined expectations that are going to make you be a really effective technician. So we're always looking for great talent.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. And now I kind of want to switch gears into, as business owners, as people who are leading, it can be lonely at the top. So I like to
Yes.
share that, we're not alone. We all go through challenges. And so I like to give that transparent look. So what is something you're currently faced with, like that's a challenge for you as you're growing in your industry?
I think there's the constant macroeconomic pressure that I think everybody is dealing with right now. So I know we're not alone there. Decision making is slowed as a lot of the businesses that we would love to support, they're looking for how do we get by without making any long-term commitments, without adding more operational expenses. And so that's always a bit of a challenge, is trying to help people understand the risk versus reward of waiting to make those decisions until there's more economic clarity. We have a lot of ways that we try and advise those clients in a crawl, walk, run approach so that they can understand here's what we can do now and here's how we can grow these things over time as there's more economic clarity. But getting away from the maybe the macro factors that are there, differentiation is always a bit of a challenge, especially in a very populated industry like IT and IT support, helping a lot of our potential customers understand how we're different and how the approach that we take is better, and we have our slogan, the better way to IT. Helping them understand the backing behind that and being able to prove that to them, that's always going to be a consistent trouble because a lot of folks have bad experiences with IT and they think this is what it always is and there's no better option out there, and there really is.
Oh, let's dive in a bit deeper there. So,
Sure.
what are some of the things you're doing currently to help with that, kind of providing the truth and market that to your potential clients?
So the way that we go about marketing is a big element of that. We try, funny enough, we try and shy away from a lot of the automated and the AI centric marketing mechanisms that are out there. We're real people. We're technologists who have a lot of valuable expertise beyond what we can chat GPT and Google.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
so helping to be more facing customer facing, trying to make sure that we are showing a higher level of value and customer experience in every interaction that we can tends to help open some of those doors and give people a little bit of there's an expectation a lot of the time in the IT industry that you're going to be working with a call center and a random person who may not be anywhere close to where your business exists, be on the other side of the world, and that poses a number of challenges there. And so we really try and emphasize that no, you're working with somebody here local in the community. We hire in the community because we want businesses here to grow and be successful. That means that we need to invest the funds and the employees that we have here locally,
mhm.
and that all ends up being a better experience because those relationships extend beyond just the 9 to 5 and those business relationships. One of our technicians just the other day ran into one of our customers at a TJ Maxx, and they saw each other and they smile. It's like, oh, I know you. And it's that sort of interaction that we love. We're real people and we have values and families and all these things that make us that are compelling us to provide the best quality service that we can. And so when we can build those relationships in person, it's immensely valuable to us. So that's part of it. The other thing is education. We invest a huge amount of time and effort into trying to educate both our prospective clients, but just the general population of here's the things that you need to know about the technology. And this is especially important in the cybersecurity realm because it's impacting everybody from from your personal email to your business email and identity there. And so we try and put a lot into that and try and pull a little bit of the wool over people or off of people's eyes about the technology they're using.
Wow, I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that breakdown because
Sure.
I know that can be like when you think about growth and you think about getting the word out about your business in a way that's reaching people, that can be a challenge, a big one for many businesses. So thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that insight.
certainly.
And well, now I want to see where you're headed in the future of your business. So do you have, or what are your kind of plans around the next 3 years?
Oh, that's a fun one. So we have a whole slew of different solutions and services that we offer, and right now we're at the beginning phase with a couple of them that are really exciting. We've got some solutions that are focused towards real estate. Real estate's one of our primary industries that we understand very, very well. We've got others that are related to helping solo entrepreneurs. There's a lot going on with the labor market right now, and a lot of folks that are either choosing to leave, their larger companies or are being asked to leave. They're kind of going, what's the next phase in my life? Am I going to go back into the workforce for another large enterprise, or am I going to strike it out on my own and be an entrepreneur? One of the solutions that we're expanding a lot right now, and we hope to see this grow over the next 3 years, is our solopreneur solution, which is how do we take all of the technology friction or the stumbling blocks that a new entrepreneur may be facing off of their plate in a very economic way? How do we make
Mm,
sure that they're secure and they have email and their website, all these things that a young business needs and often can trip up someone who's not familiar with the technology? If we can take that off their plate and give them a really good business grade solution, they're able to kind of punch above their weight class a little bit, right? And they're able to present themselves as being more than just a brand new startup, but being a legitimate business with talented people behind it. And so we hope to see that as more people are looking at that question, if we can give them an option that takes some of those friction points away, they're more likely to go and start a business. And again, it goes back to our passion about the small and medium business world. We want to see a small business renaissance at this point. And so anything that we can do to help support those young new entrepreneurs get into their business and take out the friction points, it's really great for us. So that's a big focus for us for the next 3 years. Honestly, we're probably going to triple or quadruple our team over the next 3 years. We're very, very aggressive in our growth strategy, and so we want to create a place where people really enjoy working and they're very passionate about the work that we do. And so we're very excited about hopefully growing that by multiple times over the next 3 years.
mm. And what are some ways that you are looking or the how behind that growth that you're looking to do?
Sure. A lot of it really comes down to that customer acquisition piece, the approach that we're taking to marketing, how we're going about finding the right niches where we can add the most value. Also, because we have such a broad team with such a wide range of expertise, we're able to diversify our services quite a bit. And
Mm,
that makes us very agile to work with not just a wide range of companies or industries, I should say, but also, we're able to pivot really quickly. If we start to see one solution work better than another, maybe I'm incorrect. I hope I'm not about the solopreneur sort of solution. Maybe that doesn't take off. That's okay. We've got 10 other services and solutions that we can focus on because we have so much expertise to pivot toward and build out. And so a lot of that is, we're seeing a lot of demand from our customers for, can you do this and this? And then another thing. And so a lot of these organizations are looking for a real partner that can cover a wide breadth of services that they need, which is
mm,
why we're actually now expanding Anneal Tech into Anneal Marketing to provide some of the marketing and development services that we can provide. And we're going to continue to operate into other business services as well, because again, we have the expertise and we have these customers who are looking for not necessarily a one-stop shop, but a partner who can bring any other resources or other parties into the mix that can meet the needs that they have in their particular phase of growth.
Oh, that sounds incredible. Now,
Yeah.
when you have all of these different offerings, how
Yeah.
do you juggle all of that as a president? How do you like, I'm curious because yeah, that sounds like amazing.
Yeah.
How is that organized?
Yeah, look, the reality, this is it's becoming a very cliche statement, but there is so much truth to the mentality of I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'm surrounding myself with the experts who I trust and know can actually deliver on the types of services and work and the talent they claim to have because they can back it up. You know, we bring in some of the very best talented individuals from these other large enterprises and say, come see what you can do when you're offering that type of talent to the SMB world. You know, an area and segment that I think is somewhat starved for that level of expertise. Yeah, you know, on a case by case or customer by customer basis, maybe it isn't $1 million deals and clients that you were dealing with. Maybe we're dealing with companies that are struggling to make their first $1 million in sales. But what we can do can provide so much value to them hitting those goals. And so it's bringing the right people and it's having that team, that diversified team. And I'm not trying to handle everything. I mean, you talk about juggling. Yeah, there's a lot of long days, you know, like any entrepreneur, there's a lot of 10, 12, 16-hour days. But at the end of the day, I'm very, very blessed to have a talented team that I can rely on and say, hey, go be the expert in your area, right? I don't have to solve for the cybersecurity piece. I can talk about it all day long, but ultimately our head of cybersecurity owns that space. And that
Mm.
team framework that we have is very, very effective.
That's incredible. So, how are you building out that team? Because I know
Sure.
recruiting is something important. So, how are
Yeah.
you conquering that beast?
Um, it, I wish I could tell you that there was a single strategy that I used to that. You know, we're very fortunate that there is a lot of talent out there, and there's a lot of talent that's looking for something new. And my message to a lot of the SMB world and business leaders is you've got a great opportunity where folks are becoming a bit disenchanted with the larger organizations and they want to work somewhere where they can feel the impact of the work that they do. Where they can feel fulfillment, not just because of the paycheck that comes along with it, but seeing how the work they do has an impact for your customers. Sell that, right? Help them understand how they can have that impact and involve them in a way that they become invested in your customer success. When you try and promote that message, people are drawn to that. Talented people that are passionate about the work they provide are drawn to it. And that ends up making it a little bit easier to find the right talent because they're looking for you as much as you're looking for them. And if
Mhm.
that messaging is correct, then it's going to be an organic connection when that happens. You know, outside of that, you know, there are just great, huge talent pools that can be tapped into, and there's a lot of resources online to find that great talent and making sure that they're a right fit. Be agile in the way. You know, I'm a big believer in the fail fast mentality. I think a lot of the time we bring people in and it's almost like we're afraid to exit people because they're not the right fit. And that ends up being a detriment and a draw to the business. Everybody we bring in, we try and set expectations very, very clearly and say, here's what the criteria for success are. Here's what
Mhm.
our mission is. If this isn't you, that's okay. I'm more than happy to help you find the next better place for you to be that's more conducive for what you're trying to accomplish. But if you're going to be here, this is what we're trying to do. And we make sure that that process of, hey, 30 days in, 60 days in, we're checking in and ensuring that you're meeting those expectations and that we're meeting your expectations. As long as that communication is very transparent, it's frequent and positive, then that employment relationship, no matter how short, is still generally a positive one that helps us to quickly find the right people and then help those that are not the right fit find something else.
I really like that. I think that's a golden nugget of this conversation because it's like you're giving them kind of an opportunity that even if it isn't the right fit for y'all to work together, that you still care about the betterment of the industry of humanity and in a way too. So that's really huge. I like that.
Yeah, and it differentiates you from what everybody else is experiencing. Right now, Everybody's complaining about being ghosted with recruiters and all of the challenges of not hearing back and not knowing how you fit in. Guys, if we just, and this is the truth behind whether we're talking about talent acquisition, customer acquisition, and retention of both, it all comes down to communication. The
Mm.
stronger and clearer the communication and the expectation setting is throughout, the better off that relationship is going to be with every party. And so I think that's difficult. It's not a skill that everybody has. And I get that, but then there are also resources that can. Do you know how many fractional COOs there are out there who can help with that problem, who are skilled at managing those relationships with your employees? There's a lot of resources for every business out there to tap into somebody who can help them with that if it's not their strength.
Oh, very true. That's really insightful. So,
Yeah.
again, I could talk to you for another hour about this. This time flew by. So I'd love to get into a few fun rapid fire questions where,
Okay.
yeah, just very top of mind answers.
Uh-oh. Okay. Go for it.
All right. Question number one is, what is a key to success for you?
Oh man, communication and being passionate and trying to show care. I care about my people. I care about our customers. The more I find that I care about them and others, the more that they show care towards me, and I
Mm.
do my best to do that.
Yes, I agree with that. It's kind of like what you receive what you put out.
100%. Yeah. If you take care of your people, they are more likely to take care of you, and that's been very true in my experience.
Definitely. Number two is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Uh, don't try and wear every hat on your own. Don't try and solve every problem on your own, and don't be afraid to put yourself outside of your comfort zone. If networking and building relationships isn't your thing, that doesn't mean it's permanent. To stretch yourself. You'll be surprised where the success that you can find when you put yourself in uncomfortable positions.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. And the third one is, it could be a book, a podcast, an article, just anything that's resonated with you recently.
Um, so I'm part of various networking groups. I don't want to call out any of them and give preferential treatment to any one thing. Um, But Raving Fans is a great book that really emphasizes, a core value around customer centricity that we try and emulate in what we do. And how you take people from being, a happy customer to somebody who's really trying to emphasize or wants to proselyte and evangelize what you do. So that's one it's an easy read, and some of it, I admit, you'll read it and you go, well, yeah, duh, that sounds really simple. I know that, but then, putting it into practice, a lot of the principles it teaches are good reminders of things that we often forget when we're busy trying to deliver services.
Very true. Ooh, that sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Yes. And the fourth question is, if you could wave a magic wand and improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
Oh man. More hours in the day. That's a really hard one. I mean, obviously the wish is always for continued growth, for more customer acquisitions and good leads and prospects. And that's just always the struggle every business is gonna fight for. But if I were to set that one aside, um, ooh, a magic wand that I could wave. Maybe that we could just see more stability in the market, because I think everybody would win from that. I think
Mm.
everybody, if we felt a little bit more confident about where things sat economically and people were more comfortable with taking risks right now, we would just see a huge amount of growth that I think is to everybody's benefit, no matter what size of business or industry you're in. And so I would love to see that change sooner rather than later.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you for answering the rapid fires.
Sure.
Before we get to our final question of the day, how can folks get connected with you and your business online?
Sure. The best way to get a hold of me personally is via LinkedIn. We're heavy LinkedIn users, but we are across all of social media, including YouTube. If it's okay for me to plug something really quick,
Yes.
we have a short YouTube series on our YouTube channel that is technology concepts for business leaders. And it's our one of our efforts to try and educate and help business leaders understand the technology and the principles that we would be working with them on a little bit better and demystify some of that. So that's a great way. Other than that, annealtech.com. Our website is the best way of getting a hold of us. It's where you can learn the most about what we can do. Hopefully, not be too overwhelmed by everything there, but there is a lot of value that we can provide.
Yes, well, that is incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Now, for our final question of the day, what is most inspiring to you today?
Oh, just in general, what's most inspiring?
However, you want to take the question is yours.
Oh man. Right now, the thing that comes to my mind is we're closing out the end of the year. There's just been such a groundswell in terms of interest and the need for the services that we provide. And being an entrepreneur is hard. Everybody goes through those ups and downs emotionally and physically and intellectually of the strain of running a business. And I would say right now, I'm very grateful to see beyond one of the uptrends when it comes to seeing how much need there is and how many people are coming to us saying, hey, we need help.
Mm,
It's kind of reinvigorating right now. And I know that at some point it's going to come down and peter off a little bit. But that's what's keeping me going right now is the fact that the message is getting out there and people are
mhm.
starting to see and recognize that value more and more. And there's more opportunities for us to really add value to companies that didn't think somebody like us existed for them. And so that really it really makes me feel very fulfilled and excited to start the day.
Well, that's inspiring to me as well as our audience. Logan, thank you so much for your time today and for being on the show.
Certainly. Thank you so much.